Don't have an introduction for Aubrey. Hello, everyone, and welcome to STLTechTalk Podcast. My name is JJ Hammond. We have another great show for you tonight. Are you ready for the top tech news stories from around the week and around the world? Applications you should try out on your favorite gadgets? Sure, we'll make that up as we go along. Fun and lively commentary, and of course, tonight is a very special episode because we are at STL Tech Talk growing so rapidly that we're going to come together as a family and just kind of talk about the different stories in the news. We're going to talk to each other as if we're all just hanging out at maybe a coffee or a bar, wherever, just having fun, talking about technology. And we're going to do that with our very special guest tonight. That's Aubrey Bates. She needs no real introduction other than she is one of the most miraculous people I've ever met. I love her writing. She does freecoffeewithaubrey.com. Go check that out. It's a fantastic website. I really enjoy the way she writes, and it's a good read, and she does really good pieces. She also does marketing for TrackBill, and there's a plethora of other things that she has done and will do, and we'll talk more about her in just a little bit. But, of course, what's that? Oh, no, it's Alejandro Ramirez. He's back yet for another punishing, grueling night of STL Tech Talk. As fun as that was last night, he's back again tonight. Last night's Codecast was awesome. He actually brought a little diversity that he's already bringing to the group, but he brought some diversity by talking about the Xcode and how to make applications for iPhone and iPad and just different really, really neat integrated functionalities and what kind of sets it apart a little bit from Visual Studio. So I learned a lot from that. So say hello, Alejandro Ramirez.
Hey guys, great night tonight, and I'm looking forward to hanging out with all of you.
Yes. But this show is not possible without my good friend and partner in crime. He is the editor-in-chief of STLTechTalk.com, and just all-around great guy. Looking forward to hearing more from him in the future, different stuff that we're going to have going on. Say hello, Kevin Harvell.
Hello, Kevin. Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's good to have everybody kind of in the quote-unquote same room.
Yeah, it's really awesome. And I know that a lot of our new members, or excuse me, not new members, but our new audience is going to be able to experience kind of like what we get to do, because I have enjoyed Aubrey's one-on-one conversations. I've enjoyed Alejandro's one-on-one conversations as well as Kevin's, and now we're able to have this group conversation, and we can show you how this magic is made, and it really is a wonderful experience for both me, and I know I speak for Kevin when I say that. So don't forget to follow us on Twitter at STL Tech Talk. Also, Facebook /STL Tech Talk, Google+, subscribe to our YouTube channel, subscribe to our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, Windows Phone, TuneIn Radio, or just go to our site, listen directly. You can pull down our feeds that way. Visit STLTechTalk.com to keep up with our tech news, podcast, Codecast, find out how you can advertise with us, pretty please, or hire us to consult on your technological needs. I'm doing classes over the summer and teaching people how to use their devices because, frankly, that's the number one thing people ask me when they get a new device is, I walked out of the store and I still have no idea how to use this thing. And don't forget you can interact with the live show by sending us feedback to podcast@STLTechTalk.com. And if you're watching us live, you can ask us questions via the chat room, and we'll do our best to answer those questions in a timely manner. Special thank yous go out to Paul from Verizon. I was actually on a Verizon Google Hangout earlier today, and that was a lot of fun. I got to meet up with a lot of I was completely outnumbered by the women bloggers that I spoke with. So Mommy Gina, VZW Pauly, Mom2 Riley Page, Courtney, who I spoke with, Courtney Howell, and I actually said her last name was Hubble, and she's like, that wasn't even close, which that was hilarious, by the way. And then there's one girl that has, her Twitter handle is @CrazyNutsMom, and I thought that was like a Twitter thing, but her website is actually Crazy Nuts Mom. So right on. She was really cool, and so it was really neat to have that conversation and dialogue, and it's really cool to find these guys and to kind of broaden our horizons. So hopefully you guys are going to be watching tonight because you said you were going to. So if you're not, I'm gonna come after you a little bit. I also wanted to thank Brenda, Adriana, from Verizon as well. Also to Katie Nagus from AT&T for reaching out to us. Also want to thank Jason and Kara from Nebula. I'm going to be doing a plug for them later during the show. They're a local here from St. Louis, so we'll be sending out tweets throughout the show to say thank you to you guys for everything that you did for us over the last week and have done are going to do for us in the future, and all that. So without further ado, let me go ahead and hop right into the reason why we're all here tonight is to talk to each other about the latest tech news that's going on. So Kevin, why don't you get this very special episode started and hopefully the very beginning to a wonderful, happy relationship with everyone.
Oh yeah. Okay. So the big news this week for me, for being the Android side, is LG unveiled the LG G3, the much leaked, talked about, speculated device that LG has a successor to the LG G2, which was a very highly rated, reviewed device on Android from last year. So really looking forward to it because this device is going to have like the ultimate display. If you're like a display nut, you really just love beautiful displays. This has got a 5.5-inch quad HD display. Now, think about this resolution when I drop these numbers on you. Normally we hear about 1080p displays. This has got a 2560 by 1440 display.
Whoa.
1440. So that's even higher than typical HD displays, which max out at 1080p. So this is going to be huge. And now this pixels per inch, 538. Now, Alejandro, you're a big, Apple with all, the Retina displays and stuff like that. 538 pixels per inch. That's insane.
Yes, absolutely. I think that Apple has quite a bit to catch up with that, and it just keeps getting more exciting. I'm a little curious. I have some questions for you after you finish reading the specs of the phone.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting. So there's going to be two different versions. There hasn't been like an official release date announced. As one thing, release date, pricing, that information still to come, which I was really surprised they didn't give that out the other day. It's going to be either 2 gig or 3 gig of RAM, depending on what storage option you choose. And you can either choose from 16 or 32 gigabytes of internal storage. It's a 2.46 gigahertz Snapdragon 801 processor, so, blah, 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 specs. But now this is going to be, like, insanely awesome. 13 megapixel rear-facing camera with a laser-assisted autofocus. So basically the same technology that the police use on the highways to check your speed, you're going to be able to check, it's going to be able to autofocus in... what is it? It's like much less than a second. It's like 0.0267 seconds. 0.276 seconds.
Wow.
So and during the announcement, the video, which you can watch, we have it embedded on our site under the LG G3 post. It's less time than it takes to get a signal from your brain to the end of your hand. That's what they said. How they know, I don't know. But it sounds awesome. And it's definitely got me drooling and really excited to get our review units from Verizon and AT&T to try out. Because I have a feeling that the same day that I go to send it back is the same day that I'm going to be walking into my AT&T store and purchasing one for my personal daily device. It's just, I'm just really hyped about this phone.
So I have 2 questions, JJ, if I may jump in. Do you feel, guys, that this announcement was somewhat, I don't know, I feel like everybody else, other brands, they make a whole lot of publicity when they make these announcements. I talked to a couple of guys at work who have LG phones. Some of them knew, some of them didn't know. And I know when we were trying to reach out the details of the event, it was not like widely publicized. Was there some type of, I don't know, secret bang that we don't know about? Any other surprises coming up, or why so much secrecy?
No, really, well, if you think about it, there wasn't a whole lot of secret to it because most of the specs have been leaked out over the course. Pretty much everything we learned Tuesday was talked about the previous week, just not officially from LG, except from, what was it, LG Denmark or LG over in South Korea. I mean, there was like all kinds of, showing the spec sheets and official slides that ended up being shown Tuesday. So it's almost like these device makers need to just start saving their money because all their information gets just pushed out. But it gives the press a chance to get some hands-on after the.
So there were basically no new or surprising features about the phone when the announcement came. Pretty much everything had been either leaked or.
Yeah, it was just a matter of getting official confirmation.
I see. And I think I read on our article that it's already out in Korea. It went out, I guess, yesterday on the 28th.
Yeah, on the 28th in South Korea. So it's going to start rolling out worldwide to 170 some odd different carriers around the world.
Right.
And T-Mobile has the thing right now for the month of June. They're giving away like one. They're calling it a beta device, but I'm sure it's pretty much finished hardware, finished software. They're giving away one a day. So just head over to like T-Mobile.com and you'll get some information on that.
Awesome. Thank you.
Or hit us up. Always hit us up first, no matter what happens. So what I'm gonna play a little clip here. So it's not coming through in the audio very well. So one of the things was they had I'm not sure. It looked like she was pregnant up on the stage, but it was the first time that I had seen a English-speaking woman, and I believe it's is it a Korean company? Is that
yeah?
Am I right when I say that? Yeah, South Korea. So it was really interesting seeing that kind of presentation. I wonder why. I guess because it was in London. Is that the reason why they did that, or?
Yeah, that was the central announcement location. I mean, that was the first for it to go out. Then they also had separate things going on in New York and San Francisco.
Gotcha. So Aubrey, when you checked out this post and wherever you're looking at it, do you see this phone as a possibly something that you would go to, or do you think it still kind of resembles like what a guy would own? You know what I mean? Like, do you see it being functional for you? Because the size, to me, would kind of seem a little off-putting from somebody who's maybe moving from an iPhone.
Yeah, I think for me, I would not be an early adopter. If the price would have to go down, and so many of my friends own iPhones that there's almost a camaraderie to it, So
right.
It would ultimately have to be a price decision for me. But
yeah.
I do wonder how many more selfies we're going to see now that this is going to be a better camera. So
yeah, this thing's got like super selfie capability. You just hold your hand up, palm out, and it starts doing a 3, 2, 1 countdown to allow you to like get positioned properly. So it's gonna be like a selfie machine here.
So what do you think of some of the marketing behind this? Simple is the new smart. They use a Ralph Waldo Emerson quote several times. To be simple is to be great. Do you think that do you think that is appealing, guys? More specifically, Aubrey, because she does more marketing stuff than we do, obviously. But do you think that that's a good message to kind of send out there? I mean, do you think that people are kind of looking for more simplicity, and do you think that's a good message for them?
Yeah, I mean, to me that's a little bit interesting because I would think that they'd kind of go for the low-hanging fruit initially, especially if the cost is going to be a little bit higher. Go for the people who, like you guys, are more likely to adopt this technology earlier. So the messaging, to me, it sounds like it would appeal to kind of, not to say you guys are not sophisticated, but in addition to, you know, the early adopters, it also seems like it would appeal to people who are a little bit more sophisticated in their tastes as well, and even some women. So it's a pretty broad marketing message, but it's interesting that they've broadened it as much as they have, as opposed to focusing it a little bit more.
Well, I have to be honest. You just raised the quality level of this show, because that was an element that I hadn't thought of, which was, you're completely right. I mean, here you are, you're a company trying to compete with the HTC One that just came out. And to be quite honest, if you put the HTC One and the LG together, the new LG G3 and the HTC One, like the backs together, kind of the way that metal is designed or whatever, to a normal person, they're going to be like, that's just kind of like a different version of that. But like, there's not a huge change there. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I find that interesting, your response to that, because I wouldn't have thought that. And you're right. People, if you're going to compete in this space, why not go after those people who are, you know, super crazy, want to like root their phone and put a custom ROM on it with custom this and custom that. So yeah, you're right. I mean, I don't know why they didn't really go after that market. Kevin, do you have any more thoughts on that side of it, or?
Well, I mean, you know, talking about custom ROMs and stuff like that, that's kind of what Cyanogen and Mods want to do with that OnePlus that they've got coming out. That they're going to release it for like $300 or $400 retail, and it's going to have pretty much all the high-end specs. There's still a lot of questions about it, the hardware and stuff. So yeah, it's just going to be a matter of if they can meet demand with the price point. And
well, here's the other thing that we haven't talked about yet, is the integration with the new smartwatches that are coming out. This is going to be a huge field. It's going to be a huge field for developers, engineers, everybody. Alejandro, if you're not asleep, no, he was looking down. So developers like Alejandro, and that Android Wear is coming out, and LG is going to release a smartwatch based off of that Wear operating system, which we're going to see as consumers more applications built for that smartwatch instead of, say, the Tizen smartwatch system that's on the Samsung Neo and the Gears and all that. So I think that this phone should have been positioned more like like the phone's right here, the watch is right here. Like those two things, like ubiquitously they're connected somehow, because wearables is going to be like the next hot thing for consumers to buy during like Christmas time and all that kind of jazz, or for birthdays or whatever. And that interoperability with your phone is going to be really important, and LG's coming out with a pretty nice looking watch. Right. So I know that that's not in our notes, but I just kind of wanted to broaden that out and kind of discuss that a little bit. Do you think if they would have talked about that a little bit more, that would have made people more excited?
Well, they didn't. I mean, they didn't really like talk about it, but during their presentation, they did show a slide of the LG G Watch next to the G3, and we actually have an image of that up on the website in that post as well. And
we do indeed, sir.
I mean, it looks good, and thankfully, what Android Wear brings is it's going to be compatible with all Android devices, not the Gear line where it's just compatible with Samsung. But kind of to break off from that, just for a split second, Samsung is talking about coming out with just Tizen-only smartwatches that can work with other Android devices as well. So they know they've got to adapt to stay in the game with Android Wear now. So
absolutely. Well, if you guys have any more questions on the LG stuff, our live audience, if you want to hit me up, go ahead. Otherwise, we're moving on to Alejandro. Tell us a little bit about how Apple's actually taken a bite out of another company.
So this is not necessarily news. I think it's been quite broadly communicated everywhere. Dr. Dre has been publicly talking about the Apple purchase of Beats Music. It's actually really two companies. It's the Beats Electronics and the music business. So the price originally was announced to be $3.9 billion, and then it ended up being $3 billion with a B, which is about $2.5 billion for the electronics part and $500,000 for the other piece. So, excuse me, $500 million for the other piece. And well, the speculation that everybody's talking about is, so why does Apple go there? And there's just all of these different schools of thought. Some people who love Apple are saying, well, you know, iTunes has been declining in sales, and the subscriber base is the same. I believe the number, if I'm quoting right, is like 800 million users of iTunes. And we have some noise. Can you mute out this audio for a second?
Yeah. That's Kevin. Kevin in the control room.
No, it's not me. You trying to play video or something?
It's the server room.
Nope. Kevin, you need to mic Aubrey's line.
Oh, yeah.
Never mind. All right, go ahead, Alejandro.
All right. So yeah, the big talk was either, hey, is Apple doing this as a move to rescue their music business, because they do have millions of subscribers who have paid accounts, and they all have a credit card tied to their iTunes account. iTunes is what you use to buy apps, is what you use to purchase TV episodes, movies, and of course music. And the other critics are arguing that Apple is just desperately seeking for something in the post-Steve Jobs era, trying to patch it somehow. I don't think that's the case. I personally think that they do want to do something about their music service, particularly if you've ever tried using the iTunes Radio. It's okay. It's definitely no Pandora, no... you know, it has some things that could be better, definitely. But the one thing that I think everybody's agreeing is that with this acquisition, there will be a change in the offering, and Apple will probably get into more of a paid streaming service with what Beats Music was offering, plus to switch that revenue from the paid per download or per album, which has decreased considerably, to actually paying, I don't know, $10 a month for a subscription or $99 a year like Amazon is doing. The one other interesting thing that I read about in all of these reports is that if you think about the labels, the record companies, they have been complaining a lot about dealing with Pandora, and what's the other? I'm forgetting the name of the other guys that.
Spotify.
Yes. Spotify. Thank you.
Spotify.
So they have been a lot harder to deal with. The label companies have a really good relationship with Apple, so they're really looking forward to this deal because they feel like they could actually tap into Apple's customers who have those iTunes accounts basically ready to spend money. Those are my thoughts. What do you guys think? I personally have never owned a Beats music device, like headphones or anything. What are your guys' thoughts?
Well, I'm going to hop in here and say that I have owned a couple of different Beats devices. So I've owned a laptop that had Beats audio in it. I've owned the Beats headphones. I've owned also an HTC X, or no, which one had the Beats in it? I'm trying to think. Was it the One Plus?
The One X and the HTC One. Yeah, they both had that in it.
The 8X also comes with Beats audio.
Yes, yeah. Windows Phone.
So the interesting thing to me was that they paid so much for the hardware, or the mechanics, if you will, of the service side. I didn't feel as though it did very much to the music. And I am still really against this subscriber music stuff. No, so I would say that this purchase was a lot. It had to do a lot with the name and just kind of the general branding, and maybe just a little bit of credibility with maybe future products that we haven't seen yet. and maybe we can talk about that. But I'm not a huge fan of streaming services, music services, just because I like to own my music after I buy it, and you're just renting music. So I've never really been a huge fan of that model. But I do see your point, Alejandro, in that, in order to make money in this industry, you have to kind of go where, well, I know this sounds stupid. You have to go where the money is, and right now the money is in streaming. And that's unfortunate because the artists don't make as much per stream because because it used to be based on per play, and then it was per download or per album purchase when the CDs and that, and then now it's just kind of the artist is left up to the machine algorithm that counts how many times that song was played in order for you to get paid. So I come at this from the artist standpoint, and I don't know. I think it kind of sucks, but at the same time, if there was a company that was going to buy a streaming service, I would rather it be iTunes because they have done more to kind of promote music on our devices and have that integration more than say other companies have.
Yep.
So
also, kind of, I think it's really related. Apple has been quietly removing links and references to the iPod Classic. The iPod Classic, as you may remember, is the one that still has the wheel.
Right.
And
it's a lot bigger. It usually has like 80 gig of storage. The one I used to have had 80 gig and like a 3-inch display or something like that.
Yeah, the latest version, which is probably 2 years old or so, has 160 gigs of space. It's really slow. I actually happen to own one because my music collection, like JJ's, is pretty large. And honestly, the problem was that the more music you put in the device, the slower it got, because it still didn't have a truthfully fast flash drive, and so the more you had, the slower it got. So I'm guessing, this is just, hear me out here, I'm guessing that based on what Tim Cook, the Apple CEO, has been saying, there's probably just some new product that is music related as well, based on that relationship with the Beats Music acquisition, the disappearance of the iPod from the line. We'll see. I'm thinking that we're in for something special in this WWDC announcements next week.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting.
Aubrey, how do you consume your music?
All of the above. I listen to Pandora from time to time. I use Spotify sometimes when I'm at work. When I'm in my car, I have music that I've purchased from my phone, and I just listen to that through my Bluetooth in my car. I have the iPod Classic, and I listen to that when I go on vacation. So, yeah, I mean, the only thing I don't listen to are 45s.
Oh, come on.
Why not?
Like have turntables spinning? No. But do you pay? Do you pay for any of those streaming services, or just listen to the advertisements?
Yeah, no, I just listen to the advertisements. Again, I think because I just listen across so many different devices in so many different ways, I don't listen to any one to.
Yeah.
What?
I said you'd be paying out the nose like every month to a bunch of different subscriptions, I guess, huh?
Right. Yeah, and it's interesting. I think I use each of them in a little bit of a different way. So when I use Pandora, I'm really kind of listening to discover new music, and then if I really like it, then I'll download it to my phone or my iPad, and I'll listen to it in my car. And then Spotify I use more for maybe I liked one song off their album and now I want to listen to the whole album. I'll use Spotify for something like that. So they each kind of have their strengths that I tap into.
Yeah, it's cool that you said that Pandora to listen to new artists and stuff, and I do that too a lot. And I wonder why that is, because Spotify is really big over in the European markets. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that they're really big over in Europe and stuff like that. And I would think that they would have a pretty nice collection of newer music and bands that I've never heard of and startups and that. But I've been surprised, but Pandora has always been a good place just to go to and find new music and stuff. So that's kind of cool. But do you guys see there being like because me and Alejandro are going to cover WWDC, which is Apple's big announcement on Monday. Do you guys think that they're going to announce some new major feature that are inside maybe the new iPhones that have that ability for equalizers and different settings? Because different devices that you have, I'm pretty sure Apple has this where you can like change like the treble and the bass and the mids and stuff like that. You can kind of mess with it a little bit. Do you guys think that they're going to announce anything on Monday?
It'll be interesting if they do. I mean, there's been a lot of editors and stuff. Marquez Brownlee has done a video talking about the iPhone 6 and what he expects out of it. Just widening it even more and adding another row and another column for icons and stuff. Whether or not they're going to have anything announcing this, an integration with Beats Audio, that remains to be seen. It's been a while since HTC and Beats kind of went their separate ways, so that has kind of probably given them enough time to work something out audio-wise, since it's just really an equalizer anyway, just software.
Sure. The other thing I think that might happen if you think about the Apple ecosystem, they have the Apple TV, which has been adding more and more channels, so I could potentially see a Beats Music like joint venture there or rather as a result of the acquisition, to have a channel where you can listen to that music on your Apple TV, to integrate it with AirPlay, so somehow added to iTunes in an update. And I think what you were suggesting, that perhaps there is a Beats Audio, at least software feature for non-iPhone 6, or perhaps that's the kicker of the iPhone 6, that hey, you get Beats Audio like other devices have gotten in the past.
Right.
Yeah, so that's actually a pretty good potential prediction.
You heard it here first. No. Go ahead. What were you saying, Kevin?
Yeah, I think it was Tim Cook had said Beats Audio does music streaming right. So,
okay.
Apparently there's something with there, and I've tried Beats Audio whenever it first came out, and it was okay. It wasn't something I was going to spend $10 for, since I was already using Google Play Music, Google All Access Music. So.
Yeah, but he also said that the lineup of products this year is the most, best, greatest, etc., that Apple has developed in 25 years. So I'm expecting to see. I think
that's a pretty high bar to set, dude.
Oh yeah,
it is.
Serious. That's a high bar to set.
Oh yeah.
Because Tim Cook is CEO. Usually CEOs always say stuff like that, but I mean, when you say stuff like that and you work for Apple, that's a high bar.
You know there's something coming, and I think the Apple after Steve Jobs has been surprising Apple. It's not been so much the secrecy, it's just the sharp turns that they've been taking on all of these unexpected things that people say, oh, will Steve Jobs have done that? Well, I don't know, but it's, I kind of dig it, so...
Well, here's a suggestion, guys. Maybe every iPhone is going to come with a hologram of Michael Jackson.
You never know, man. There's all kinds of
that would be
deals.
So friggin' awesome. I'm not going to lie.
Princess Leia and R2-D2.
Yeah.
Hold it down vertical.
Everyone Kenobi.
Starts moonwalking.
Like starts moonwalking on your iPhone? For sure. Dude, if that happened, I would quit, and that's all I would do. So I don't even know how to. Okay, so is there a cool story that I can come up with and like this? There's now Wi-Fi hotspots on the moon. True story. So Microsoft has decided, so to speak, during a conversation that current CEO Mr. Nadella, Satya Nadella, said at a code. It's kind of weird because the people who used to do all things D went off on their own and doing a site, code.org or whatever, recode or something like that has nothing to do with code, but whatever. So there was a conference of some sorts, and basically the CEO said, no, we're not going to sell Xbox, and we're not going to get rid of Bing. And made a interesting remark. I'm looking for clarification on this, but after reading a couple of posts, made an interesting remark that Bing is sort of the Apple of search, meaning that it has the same market share as, say, Apple does in the hardware side of the phone market. Bing has in the search side, because I learned over the last couple of weeks that Bing actually has, Bing and Yahoo combined with their combined search engines have about 29% of the search market, which is roughly supposedly the same for Apple and its hardware sales. So that was kind of an interesting comparison, kind of weird at the same time. But for me, being liking Microsoft I don't really consider myself too much of a fanboy, but I do like Microsoft's product, and I do have a lot of their stuff, and I'm involved in their ecosystems. Him kind of stating that they're not selling the Xbox or Bing is kind of music for my ears, because I did not want them to get rid of either one of those, because I covered the Watchdog event release party at the Microsoft store. Those people would have never come into the store or would have been excited necessarily as many people that showed up if Xbox wasn't in that store. So that was potential sales that wouldn't have been there if the Xbox wasn't a part of that store. Also, Bing is so attached to the Windows operating system. I mean, it literally, if you try to take it away from Windows 8.1, the smart searches and all these different functionalities that you can use would kind of fall apart a little bit. With a lot of the app integration. So it was nice to see kind of a reaffirmation, if you will. I'm going to open this up to anybody who wants to talk next. No, I changed my mind. Kevin, what's your thoughts on this story?
Well, it kind of goes along with what was rumored before Satya Nadella was announced as the next CEO, was when there was talk of Stephen Elop becoming the next Microsoft CEO. There was rumblings that he would possibly sell off Bing in the Xbox divisions because they're kind of like losing money and stuff. So it's good for him, for Satya, to come out and say, no, we're not. We're riding it out. So there's just a lot of momentum, and some things take a little bit of time. I mean, technically the Xbox 360 won the last generation, you would say, of video gaming hardware. And this year, this generation, they're kind of lagging a little bit behind. Sales aren't quite as good, but as we talked about last week, dropping it down to $399, pulling out Kinect. Kinect is still available if you would like it, but now you have the option to buy an Xbox One without Kinect if you prefer. So I think that's going to help spur sales some. And there's as more and more games keep coming out for it, it's going to do fine. People are eventually going to be like, I'm tired of the 360. Let's move on to something new. And I think once they get some of these newer 4K TVs and all these super high definition TVs, it makes the experience a whole lot different. If you don't believe me, just go to the Microsoft store and look at their little Xbox One demo they've got sitting right there at the front. Your mouth will just drop and you'll start drooling and it's just inspiring. Just whenever you see it, you're like, oh my god, I really want to drop $500 for this system and another $1,000 for this TV, and you want to. That's definitely for sure. So I'm just glad that he came out and said that.
Alejandro,
I have a problem in general, and as you guys know, I am very impartial when it comes to Microsoft and Macintosh. I love both as much as I hate them. There's things I love about them. There's things I hate them, but it's one of those relationships that I cannot live without them. Either of them. So, but the one thing that I keep thinking of Microsoft is just the price points. I think that they're moving past the PC era, but they haven't gotten rid of the PC prices. and what I'm trying to say, because people say, well, a PC is cheaper than a Mac. Well, yeah, but when you're making non-PC devices, don't price them like a PC. So, like the Surface Pro 3, which we'll talk about in a second, I think if it had been cheaper from day one, it would have had a lot more people buying it. I mean, they ended up dropping the price anyway. You can now buy a Surface Pro first generation for like $500, well, I imagine there's a cost associated, of course. There's always a cost associated to produce. But why not try to figure that out better and sell at prices that are more competitive? The moment that game producers and the industry decided that it was fine to charge you $60 for a video game, they lost me and a whole lot of people who, I used to have stacks of video games, but when the price point started going to the $300-400 for the console, and then another $50, $60, $70, $150 if you're buying the special edition, there was not a lot of room. I had to play a game for a freaking year before not that long, but I had to play really long before I decided to go buy another one. Now, thankfully, Redbox lets you rent games for a little bit, as opposed to GameFly, who charges a bunch of money. But back to my original comment, I think that on the Xbox side, I love Xbox. I have always loved Xbox in the first Xbox. On the Bing side, I think Bing is definitely the eye candy of search. They have awesome pictures. I love opening the Bing page and kind of navigating through the different tips of information that they let you have about, this is a beautiful palace in Bangkok, and I want to go see what that is about. And Google is just, there's the Google Doodle, and kind of cute, but it's kind of the same thing always. I think people like, things they can relate to. So,
hey, when's the last time Bing came out with the Rubik's Cube you could play on on their search page?
Oh, that's right. Did Google just do that?
Yeah. So that's kind of my point. I mean, there's different audiences. I think I'm not surprised that Bing has come such a long way, because I think they've been doing it really, really well. The market has been obviously governed by Google or enjoyed by Google primarily, but there's been several campaigns, and I think there's room to grow. The rewards that they offer for people who use Bing, I think is something that has been turning some people to just use it.
I cashed out this week. I put in I want to say I put in almost 1,000 credits towards the Surface 2 and an Xbox One. I jumped into that game.
Nice.
The question that I kind of want to answer from you, though, is, do you think that keeping Xbox and Bing was crucial for Microsoft to do, or do you think that they should have thought about getting rid of it?
I think those are two very important aspects of the Microsoft brand that I don't think it would have been a clever move, because it's something that people associate with the company. I don't think Xbox going somewhere else maybe good for the users, but not so good for Microsoft. So I think they are doing the good thing in keeping them both.
Awesome. So, Kevin, your last story of the night. Tell us how Geordie LeVar Burton is doing Reading Rainbow still.
Right now, butterfly in the sky. I can fly twice as high. It's in a book. Take a look. It's in a book. Reading Rainbow. As children of the '80s, probably everybody here has watched an episode of Reading Rainbow at some point in their life. I mean, the show ran from 1983 to 2006.
Alejandro didn't. He wasn't in the country.
They didn't have those in Mexico. Go on.
Yeah, all right. Go to YouTube. YouTube it. Well, anyway, LeVar Burton and everybody else associated with Reading Rainbow, they're wanting to bring it back. They've brought back an app that has been out for a couple years, but now they're wanting to put Reading Rainbow and make it available to classrooms and schools for free. And so they started a Kickstarter, and their goal was to reach $1 million. Well, yesterday, on the first day that it was available, it reached $1 million, the same day.
Wow.
And just in the time that we've been talking about some of the last couple articles, I wrote down what they've raised so far. And when I started my tally, it was at $2,334,184. Since then, looking at it right now, it's up to $2,343,844. So it's already gone up like $9,000, almost $10,000 just since we've been talking the last probably 10 minutes.
Wow.
And it's still got 33 days to go.
Aubrey, what do you tell me that you're a Reading Rainbow fan?
Of course.
So, what's your thoughts?
I'm sorry?
What's your thoughts on this story?
Well, so I was reading the Mashable article, and I have to say I thought what was really interesting was that, what was it, Will Wheaton and Senator Cory Booker both tweeted about it.
Yeah.
And Will Wheaton, by a long shot, had more retweets. And that's not really related, but I found that very interesting. But, I go ahead.
Yes, so
I was just I was a big Reading Rainbow fan, and yeah, this is great. Good for him.
Yeah, I mean, it's really cool because he's given people, there's all kinds of different reward levels for people that are wanting to help fund this project for him. And, the highest one, which is pledged 10,000 or more, there's only one. You and a friend will be LeVar's personal guest for a private dinner in L.A. You'll get to wear the original, one and only, original visor that LeVar wore in Star Trek The Next Generation. So it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. So all you Star Trek fans, geeks out there, this is your chance. You can be Geordi LaForge for just a matter of moments and have dinner with the guy.
If I had
and support a great cause.
If I had the money, I would do it. I know Alejandro would too. Just cause.
Yeah. So it's.
He says no.
So
Star Wars.
they've reached.
I'm sorry, not a Star Trek fan. I'm a Star Wars fan.
Yeah. So they reached $1 million.
Star behind Alejandro, not the Voyager.
Right. So that puts Reading Rainbow is going to be back digitally
in this country for the first part of your life.
Into like 1,500 classrooms for free, and there's going to be some other things that they announce in the next couple days.
Nice. Well, that's really cool, and that goes to show that we can still work on bridging the gap between STEM projects and enthusiasm towards learning and education. I say this to everybody I meet. Health and education are two big, huge things that I throw everything I got at behind, and this is one of those things is really awesome. I'm glad we were able to talk about it. So if you have the ability, please donate to this cause. That would be fantastic. Also, if you have a child, check out Khan Academy. They're doing a lot of really cool stuff there. That's a good place to go and learn and all that kind of jazz. Alejandro, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you started up recently with the BizSpark community?
I heard it a little bit, so I'll try to be brief, I promise. So as you may know or may not know, my side business, Inertia.com, is a BizSpark startup. And when we participated as STLTechTalk in National Small Business Week, we actually reached out to the directory of BizSpark members in St. Louis. We found out that there were more than 80 companies subscribed in the area, and those companies can represent single individuals or groups of 2 or more. And to qualify as a BizSpark member, these are people who have an established business name that are primarily developing software and that wanted to take advantage of incentives provided by Microsoft for up to 3 years, which include free software, through a free MSDN subscription, plus Azure, dollars every month, and a whole plethora of things like ability to network with others and some other offers. And so through those discussions in National Small Business Week, some of the members that I was able to reach out to, they were very interested in having some type of local networking group or user group meeting. There were different things that they were very interested in discussing, sharing experiences with others. And so we agreed that we needed to have presence. So I reached out to the BizSpark, the Microsoft BizSpark folks online, and I asked, is it okay to start our own group? And they said, sure, go for it. So if you guys are on LinkedIn and search for BizSpark, and that's B-I-Z, short for business, B-I-Z, Spark, BizSpark. So search on LinkedIn for BizSpark Midwest USA. And so if you are in St. Louis or in areas around, consider the Midwest, Illinois, Iowa, etc., you're in. So if you're not in St. Louis, we are wanting to reach out to the Midwest. There are other groups that cover countries that are as big as Missouri or as small as countries that are that small. But I think it's just cool. I haven't seen that many groups that are regional. So everybody's really excited. I've been talking to different people. I've been inviting people slowly. But if you see the group, I'm reaching out tonight to members, aspiring members. So if you want to find out more about it, join, please. I'm also reaching out to partners and also to alumni. If you were a BizSpark member or if you're a DreamSpark member, you can graduate into BizSpark. So any of the above, please reach out to me, reach out through LinkedIn, talk to us at STL Tech Talk, and we'll tell you where to go. There is going to be a meeting in June. We're probably going to do it at the Microsoft office in City Place. Bill Fink has very nicely agreed to let us use the location. I'm talking right now to different speakers to come and talk to you about all of the benefits of BizSpark. So if you're a member and you haven't really taken advantage of all of your benefits, that's what we're going to do on the first talk. So more details to be announced through here and on the page.
And you probably have been harassed by either Alejandro or myself because we had a list of BizSpark people and we were coming down the list together. He was working from the bottom, I was working from the top, and we were just, you know, contacting people, calling people, emailing people. I got a bunch of responses saying, please leave me alone for the love of everything that's holy. And then, you know, just put this and this and this. But, you know, that's how I am, and that's kind of how Alejandro is. But but if you're into this, man, we are going to put our weight behind it as well. So please reach out to us, STLTechTalk at STLTechTalk.com. Also the LinkedIn page. Just contact one of us, and we will get you where you need to go.
Exactly.
Also, I want to take this time to thank Nebula. It's the unconventional workspace for unconventionally employed people. Basically, it's a unique community here in St. Louis. It's a location where it's home to creative talent and web and graphic design, programming, video, event management, public relations, and music. You name it, you can probably do it there. They have plans. They have very very reasonable plans that you can start off with if you want to have an event or whatever the case may be is. So go check them out. It's nebulastl.com. Go check them out immediately. And we will also hook you up if for some reason you heard the podcast and you didn't know exactly what was going on, but you heard about me talking about it. Just hit us up and we'll get you where you need to be. Having said that, I'm going to move on to the last news story for myself. I'm going to tie two news stories together, which is Microsoft is coming out with, supposedly, there's a Forbes article that's out. Forbes is a respected news outlet, but essentially they're talking about how Microsoft is going to make a watch that is compatible with both Android, Apple, and Windows. I think this could possibly be game-changing for Microsoft as a company. I would love to see this. The CEO is shocking everyone with just how much dedication he has to not giving a crap about legacy or caring about, people, they're, say that, oh no, you have to just stay in the box. He's willing to work outside the box. He's saying that the box doesn't exist. If, we're a software company first, and, he really hasn't talked much about hardware, but obviously with the exception of the Surface Pro 3. What I find really interesting about this is finally we have a wearable that may be integrated with all the devices and not just one specific thing, and that was really what was kind of unique about Pebble when it first started off. And I'm going to kind of open this up to you guys on the panel. Let's try to make it kind of quick because we want to talk about what Aubrey has going on. What do you guys think of it?
I'm excited. So it sounds great being able to have a smartwatch that'll work with every mobile device. Not the Pebble is Android, iOS, of course. The Gear, Samsung, Android, and all the other stuff, Android Wear, just Android devices. So if Microsoft can pull this off, man, it's just going to keep making me want to keep waiting to buy a smartwatch just to see what comes out.
I know, it's like first Kevin's like, I'm going to get the LG, and then the Moto 360. I'm going to get the Moto 360, and then someone's going, I'm going to get that. It's like
kind of like with Aubrey though. If it has to look good, I think that there's a market for geek, and I was having a really interesting discussion on Twitter about the Casio calculator watches back in the day.
Oh yeah.
If you remember those, I mean, they were cool, but they look super nerdy. And on the other hand, you have the, I don't know, more wearable technology. If you are a bit more conscientious about, I don't know, you want it to kind of look okay. And I'm not saying those don't look good, because, you know, I have had a mix of things, but definitely some people are more conscientious about it. And so I think if they look good, I think they'll be reaching out to a certain audience, so I hope they look nice.
Aubrey, thoughts?
I don't know. I mean, it sounds awesome. Part of me wonders if they're going to bring back, I don't know if you remember the mood ring watches that were really big.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you know, are they going to incorporate that kind of technology? That'd be awesome, you know. No, I don't know. It sounds really interesting. I had a conversation with a guy who has a game development company here in St. Louis, and he was talking about wearable technology and kind of where the future's headed. So it's interesting, but I think that Alejandro's right. It would take a while for me to get on board with something like that, because right now most of them aren't very chic, shall we say.
There you go.
Oh,
there you
what,
go.
is that a tease?
I'm telling you, she raises the quality level of this show. So having said that, the Surface Pro 3 is coming out. What I have noticed, and maybe the other two guys, Kevin and Alejandro, probably have noticed, is Microsoft has done something that it hasn't done before, in my opinion, which is stay in the news cycle, which is continuously stay in the news cycle. First, it was the release of Windows 8.1 and the new Windows Phone 8.1. Then it was the release of the Xbox. First it was the Xbox, and then it was this, and then it was this, and then now the Surface Pro 3, and now we heard rumors that we're going to see another Surface device come out after the touch-friendly version of Office comes out, because that's one of the top 10 list of downloads for Mac and iOS devices. So they've done something that is really unique in my opinion, which is stay in the news cycle and stay current and stay in the public perception in spite of everything that Google and Apple have been doing. So that's just kind of my thoughts on this overall. But for time's sake, and just because our listeners probably enjoy Aubrey's tone of voice rather than mine, and want to take a small break from Alejandro and me, because we do have a chance to, or we do have our moments where we kind of take control, and it's like, holy cow, stop talking. Let's talk about Aubrey a little bit. Aubrey, tell us a little bit about Free Coffee with Aubrey and your last post that you did. I'd like to kind of hear some behind the scenes on that and how you approach, and just kind of just tell me, just start talking to me.
Okay. Yeah, so it's been going awesome. So I think you guys know I'm getting married at the end of July. So I haven't really been as active about pursuing different people that I think would make interesting posts. My goal is to get caught up before we go on our 3-week honeymoon. But I did just write one. I interviewed a guy, Tim Dean. And he's a coach, a life coach. He's a very interesting guy, and so I called the post, your dreams aren't big enough. And he just talks about, I think he was saying by the age of 11, like 75% of the communications that we hear are negative in context. Don't do that, stop doing that. And so we all tend to kind of think negatively about these big dreams that we have. And so kind of getting yourself outside of that and starting to realize that it is possible, and there are people who are out there doing it, and you can be one of those people. So he was a great person to meet, a great person to write about. My next post I'm looking forward to, I actually sat down with she told me she was not a psychic, but if there's someone who has passed away, you can contact her and she will potentially communicate with them and give you a message from them. So anyway, that will be very interesting to write about. I imagine I'll have quite a few comments on that one. But
did she read your mind? Did she actually read your mind?
She did not. She did take my engagement ring and told me a few things about myself, but I knew her previously, so it was all stuff that that I think maybe she had gleaned from our conversations. But I don't know. She did reiterate that she was not psychic.
So I watched in passing. I didn't watch the whole thing. I saw it while I was making myself a salad. And I know how that sounds, but I was making my own food, so everyone should be happy about that, and I didn't burn any houses down. And I saw in the background this like New Yorker or New Jersey or whatever the case may be is some lady talking about how she speaks to. It was on TLC or something like that.
Yeah,
it was on in the background.
Long Island Madam or whatever.
Is that it? Yeah.
Long Island
No, I saw that, and I was like, this is. Oh my gosh, my mom! What is that movie where it's like zzz, boom and their heads explode? So I was like, what? So was she anything like that, or was it kind of?
No, I mean was
she on the level?
It was interesting. She was very reticent. I think that's not the right word. She, it was interesting because I don't know if she realized she did it, but she kept asking me for confirmation. So she'd say, "I'm not psycho, I'm not a wacko, and I think that was kind of her insecurity about it. And she said she thought it would, it's a capability she says that we all have, and I'm not judging here. Whoever believes this and doesn't believe it, but yeah. She said she thinks it's an ability we all have, and she just has developed the ability, and she thinks that we should teach this ability to kids when they're younger, and talked about some of the science to back up what she does, and so it'll be pretty interesting to write.
Yeah, that is cool. That is cool. So let's talk a little bit about what we're launching this Sunday. For those of you who don't know, we are launching STLTechChic, and it's going to be, well, I'll let Aubrey tell you all what it's going to be.
Yeah, so kind of the initial impetus behind it was just to provide one place, a hub that anyone, but a little bit more specifically, women can come to find information about things going on in the tech startup space in St. Louis. Working in the tech startup space, I absolutely love it. I mean, wearing jeans to work, working with 3 other people makes it a little bit easier to communicate. Sure. So I wanted more kind of young women to know that this is a possibility. And I had lunch with a guy today whose daughter he's concerned about because she's not kind of pursuing that normal career path. She didn't finish school, but she was playing some game, and the guy he described it as he handed over the server to her, and so she was kind of running this website and getting money from it. And it's non-traditional revenue, but things like that are possible these days, and a lot of women don't know that that's the case. They think you have to go to college, you have to get that degree, you have to get a job and work your way up the career ladder, but there's so many things happening, especially here in St. Louis, that they can get involved right now. People looking for skills that they have right now. So that was the impetus, just me getting all these emails about different events, and I thought, how do other women know, what's happening in St. Louis? How do they have kind of their finger on the pulse of everything going on? So that's it. It'll be kind of a resource to know exactly what's happening in the area, and then a little bit more than that. Hopefully, we'll get some people on board to write a little bit more about, gaming and different startups in St. Louis and things along those lines. So it should be pretty exciting. I'm looking forward to it.
Absolutely. I from the moment I met you, I was just like, you have to be doing something either like this or this. So I'm glad that you're doing this because communication skills are huge. Alejandro and Kevin and our other codecast Gus, we all we know how important it is to be able to communicate effectively. And I think that not only do you do that in person, but you're extremely intelligent and your communication skills are solid. So, like I said, I think that you can be a good point of reference, right? You know, because I do think that especially in this area, kind of in the Midwest, that there's still a kind of a negative stereotype to women that are independent and successful. You know, and I'm not saying that to beat up on anybody. I'm just saying that unfortunately that is the truth about where we are located, and it's nice to kind of have someone to point to per se and say, hey, maybe you don't need to be, you know, so black or white. You know, there are variations on a theme, if you will, and I'm glad that you're doing this. Guys, did you have any questions for Aubrey?
Just one thing I definitely do want to make mention is after going to KCDC a couple weekends ago, it was really cool to see how many women are actually involved in developing and attending conferences like this. I mean, we met Jennifer Marsman back at St. Louis Days of .NET back in November. You know, great gal, really knows her stuff. I mean, she knows how to code, how to develop, and she's into it. Jennifer Wadella, she was, you know, really big. She wanted to make sure all the ladies that were still in attendance after the closing session of meeting when they wrapped everything up, she wanted to get all the ladies together and, you know, for pictures and stuff, and I got a couple shots of that. It's really good to see so many women that want to be in there, and I'm really glad, Aubrey, that you're wanting to help give ladies a voice, you know, from the female perspective, where they have a place to go and, you know, talk to each other and, you know, comment on posts, share ideas, stuff like that. It's really exciting. So, you know, kudos for you for getting this up off the ground.
Yeah, and to you guys too for putting everything together and moving things along. So yeah, I'm very excited about it.
Yeah, and you know, Alejandro's gonna help out too. You know, in his way, he's gonna do his bit. Alejandro, you had a good question that we wanted to clarify earlier before the show. Why don't you go ahead and ask that question?
Yeah, so just for the audience, so those of you who are interested in following this new venture, I wanted to clarify by stating, I rather probably just say it, this STLTechChic.com is a sister website of STLTechTalk.com. You can find a link to it from STLTechTalk.com once we launch it. And if you haven't seen how well Aubrey writes, excuse me, you have to go check out freecoffeewithaubrey.com because she has a wonderful style of writing. I have really enjoyed subscribing and getting an email every time she writes a new article.
Yeah.
You really need to check it out, and I'm equally excited. I like I said before, I work at Monsanto. We're not a startup, obviously, but there is plenty of women in power. And I have to tell you, after working many years, traditional organizational hierarchies always have men in power, and the dynamics are very different, and I really welcome the diversity. I think that there's a lot of different dynamics that occur in such environments, so I'm really thankful for being in a place where everybody has an equal opportunity, and I'm really, really happy that, Aubrey, you're doing this. I think it's fantastic that you're sharing everything that is going on, because those who think that there is no opportunity, that why should I even think about this, that sounds like a job a guy will do. Well, hey, guess what? There's all these other people doing this thing that you like, and so you can actually do it if you want to do it.
Right, exactly, yeah, and a big part of it too is, you know, I would get so frustrated, you know, with myself that, you know, you see both men and women who are incredibly successful at such a young age, you know, and here I am kind of treading this normal career track where maybe in 30 years I'll be incredibly successful and making the kind of money that I hopefully, you know, will make one day. And it's up to me to break out of that box and you know, start doing something unique and original to make that happen sooner. So I want to be a resource for other people that are kind of experiencing that same thing and trying to break out of that traditional box and you know, grow as a person on their own schedule sooner.
And I do have a question for you, just maybe something to think about. So while you're going to be enjoying your honeymoon, congratulations, by the way.
Yes. Well,
think about somebody to cover you while you're out, and maybe have a person to help you write some posts while you're away. And we'll be happy to help you. I have some friends who will probably love to write too. So if you want to talk to some people to help you write some stories, I can pass on some names. You can look at writing samples and decide if you want to enroll them or not.
Yeah, that'd be excellent. If you guys have any introductions or anybody watching knows someone that might be interested, I'm definitely interested and willing to talk to anyone and everyone who wants to get involved.
Absolutely. Well, Alejandro, that was a great place to kind of end it, what you said. Aubrey, as ditto. Kevin, that ends our normal news segment part of the show, / interview / we're all just hanging out and kind of getting a feel for what this is going to be like in the future. Having said that, I wanted to talk a little bit about our site. This week, there was we're starting this nice cadence of releases on posts. The variety of the posts are really nice. So I talked a little bit this week about XLTE. So Verizon is talking about bringing the next version or their next version of faster internet speeds called XLTE. Also, we had another post from Alejandro on the Microsoft offering a minimum of $200, for the iPad credit trade-in towards the Surface 2 Pro and RT. Also, he did the Windows 7 and Windows 8 quote-unquote snap feature for your Mac. Also, Aubrey wrote Spark with an exclamation point, a perspective by Jennifer Stanfill. Also, we had a post from Kevin. LG officially unveils the LG G3. So that conversation we had at the top of the show, go ahead and go to our website, check out that post. I also did a post on an app called Unishare for Windows Phone, so please go and check out that post as well. All of those you can find at STLTechTalk.com. And again, we're going to be launching STLTechChic.com on Sunday. So if anybody has any thoughts on what they kind of expect and that kind of jazz, just hit us up. Send us a STLTechTalk at STLTechTalk.com, the email address, and we will try to address those as best as possible. We did have a couple of questions that I had, messaging and all that kind of jazz. Just to answer one question, all of our days was fantastic, so thanks for asking, Mr. Bro. The other thing was also we wanted to thank our last night guest, Alejandro, again, for being on and teaching us a little bit about Xcode. We want to tell everybody to go to our website and check out Codecast. If you're interested at all about developing, check out our Codecast section under podcasts, and it's video. It's more of a video-centric, but you can download the MP3s or through iTunes or whatever and listen. But I suggest, so that you can obtain more information, that you watch it on our YouTube channel or on our site directly through the link. You can actually watch it there. Also, want to thank Andrew Long for continually working hard on our STL Tech Talk app and eventually our STL TechChic app. It's going to be very cool to have that in the future. Also, thank you, Alejandro, for your work on that as well, the work that you've done. Aubrey, was there any announcements that you wanted to make for this week, just that you wanted people to be aware of?
Other than check out STL TechChic, and I'll be writing a post on a psychic on freecoffeewithaubrey.com. That's about it.
Awesome. Kevin?
Other than just, some of the stuff we're getting together, we're going to head back down to Nebula Saturday morning to talk about some things and really look at Nebula some more. It looks like it's going to be fun. We had a great time the other day with Jason from Nebula, so I definitely want to thank them from showing us around. And just real quick, Reading Rainbow update. We're up to $2,394,064, so we're up to like 60 grand just during the show.
Great.
Pretty wild.
Now we're up to 60 grand. By the way, if you want to go donate money to STLTechTalk.com, go to contact us or all that kind of stuff. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. Also, Alejandro, what do you want to put at your little period on the end of this show?
I just want to remind everybody that next Monday is WWDC. If you have an iPhone, iPad, or an Apple TV, Apple is now going to be live streaming the keynote. And JJ and I are going to be doing live commentary as the live streaming is going on. So go to our website, check for that blog post. We're going to be doing live commentary. So stay tuned for that.
Yes, thank you, Alejandro. I knew I was forgetting something, and then of course I gotta say you're sort of my double. Just with a more sexier language skill set, because I was gonna say something in Farsi earlier, but we didn't get to that because you were telling a long joke, which was a good joke by the way, but I liked it. But I didn't get a chance to talk Arabic, and it's not as sexy as what you were talking. Having said that, Aubrey, Kevin, Alejandro, everyone, thank you for being on this wonderful episode. We hope, as fans of the show, you guys enjoyed this as well. Thank you again, Daryl Pritchard, for spreading the word down in Texas. We're big in Texas. We're big in Japan, and we're big in France. I think I was looking at Ireland, a couple other places. So we're global now.
Thank you, world.
Australia. Thank you, world. World.
Yeah, my dad is also watching from Mexico.
Awesome.
Hola. That's it. That's all I got.
Hola, yes.
¿Cómo estás, mi amigo? How do you say JJ in Spanish? Hey.
JJ.
What?
JJ.
Jota? Okay. Jota. Man, that just sounds way more difficult than it needs to be. So, again, thank you, everybody. Thank you again, Aubrey, for coming on. Thank you, Alejandro. Thank you to all of our fans. We love and thank you for your support of the show. And so, from the entire STL Tech Talk crew, everyone stay frosty. We're out.